Okay. Alright. Did that work? Am I... waiting for YouTube to update? It should be working. It's obviously working with a little bit of a delay on my part, but it seems to be completely fine. Let's see if anyone hops on. Zero concurrent. Let's see also. What's OBS telling me? OBS is telling me we are looking fine. Can't tell about my audio. Maybe a little bit higher? Yeah. Just gonna chill until I see a couple more people on, perhaps? Perchance? Maybe? Oh, right. I definitely didn't forget to post on Discord about this. Let's see here. Hop on and join me for a stream just went live. There you go. Should probably also link to the fucking stream in that message. Nah, man. I had like an hour where I was just preparing for the stream, and then, then I didn't. So, amazing. I've seen a couple of people join. Let's see here. Still gonna link it on the server. Meanwhile, those of you who have already hopped on, welcome. Welcome. Today we, as you can probably tell, we are going to be doing a bit of a tier list ranking of the uh, wonderful cast of my Kickstarter crap deep dives. So, that'll be, uh, that'll be fun, fun to do. Okay. In a moment, I'll be explaining what the tier list actually entails. As you can see, it's not just an, ranks S, A, B, C, D, or whatever. It's a little bit different. The best way I figured I can do this sort of thing. Okay. And hello to you too, Mr. CRH. Alright. So, yes, indeed, we are going to be doing a tier list of the cast of Kickstarter crap deep dives I've done in the past over the past 2 years now. Um, right? It's been year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half, I guess. It's gonna be 2 years sometime during spring. I forget when the Lucic video came out. But as you can see here, I have 5 ranks, 5 different tiers here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters we will be ranking. And I have done the tiers by how interesting, how interesting I consider their stories to be, and how interesting I consider them to be as people, as individual characters. Perhaps their own projects were had some interesting aspects to them. The projects themselves were weird or funny or anything, but this is specifically the people. what is the person in question actually that interesting, or after I'd dug a bit deeper and looked at them as an individual, did it turn out that they were just like a regular fucking person. And that's why I have the top tier as fascinating specimen, where it's like this person is in fact quite special. They are something uh, not easily described by our mortal understanding. And that's the highest tier. Then, of course, we have very interesting, which is very interesting. There's a lot to them. We have fairly intriguing. Whoops. Hope that didn't disconnect anything. We have fairly intriguing, which is, there's quite a lot to their story, but nothing groundbreaking necessarily. We have not that deep, which is someone who is interesting enough to be notable. They're above the average, and they're above the average perhaps, but they're also just not the most exciting person and character in the world. And finally, we have Dead Ends. Dead Ends is quite a harsh way for me to say that they are basically just some guy or some person, just a regular old Joe, where there's not even a purpose, not really a reason, rather, or meaning to digging deeper about them, because the surface level you see is kind of all you're going to get, all you're going to get with them. And yeah, those are the 5 ranks we will be discussing. Again, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Perhaps someone else will hop on from the server or elsewhere. And yeah, then we'll be getting to ranking them. And I'll be looking forward to hearing your opinions in the chat as well. And I'll be just drinking my cherry Dr. Pepper, not sponsored. Okay. So we will be. That's interesting. I'm saying 2 different numbers in analytics, and YouTube's being YouTube, whatever. I suppose we can already begin. This is mainly a test stream either way. I didn't give a huge heads up. I think I put up the scheduled stream thing like 2-3 days ago, and then only uploaded that video that was the update one this morning, and also only made a post this morning. So it's not like there's going to be that many people that were planning for this. Hello there, K Condor. Howdy to you as well. And yeah, let's get started. Let's get started with our list here. I will be keeping a slight eye on the chat on my phone here, but bear with me if I'm not very quick on the response. There is a bit of latency as well. So we're starting off with Daddy Dada. Now, Daddy Dada. I think it's a pretty good thing that we're starting off with him, because I think Daddy Dada is a perfect almost baseline for what we're looking for, because the very bottom tier here, Dead Ends, that is someone who's just a very average person. There's nothing much to them. Fascinating Specimen is like, there's almost, it's almost like the Fascinating Specimen is someone who doesn't share that much of anything with the average person, that everything about their existence is freaking insanity. And yeah, I don't disagree with you, Condor. We're gonna get to this man over here. But Daddy Dada. We're starting off with Daddy Dada, and I think my immediate thought is putting him right down the middle. Now, my reasoning. He is kind of someone who has spent a lot of his life being kind of an average person, but kind of not, a lawyer who has dealt with a variety of different cases, and has met a lot of quite interesting people, like the musicians and all that stuff that were involved in creating the music video for Treat All Women with Respect. And I think it's fairly safe to put him in this tier because yeah, he's someone who has enough passion about the topic to make this video whole thing um and bring all these people together, but at the same time himself as a person is also perhaps not as interesting as some of the other characters. He's definitely not in the fascinating specimen tier. He is beyond what his involvement is with the music video and all of that. He is kind of just uh, he's just kind of a guy. Um, I think the most interesting part about him is stuff we can speculate about, like the reason for why he specifically chose to make this video. Because I do have the assumption that he has dealt with a lot of abuse cases in his career. But yeah, I can see. Yeah, okay. So right, you're saying he's in the not that deep tier for you. I can see that as well. He's sort of hovering, for me personally, he's hovering between these two tiers, between fairly intriguing and not that deep. For now, I'll keep him in fairly intriguing. Um, let's see. Daddy Dada deserved to be a living meme. I feel like he would have appreciated a bit of the notoriety, but would probably be a bit sad that the message was a bit lost. I feel like that was kind of the case, but there's also, I mean, from my perspective, the way I put it in the deep dive, I do think that actually the way he presented his message was very silly. It was very much preaching to the choir, perhaps, and a lot of people took it as this silly thing to make fun of. But like I said, as a result, his video was shared a lot, and it was shared on channels like iDubbbz's channel and Memulus. And yeah, this old man, this old lawyer, um, giving his opinions on why beating women is bad, obviously, isn't going to change anyone's mind. But I think overall he probably had a fairly positive effect on that whole discussion because, again, there were these other YouTubers had to make these videos where they sort of made fun of him, but they made fun of anyone who would actually abuse women and so on. They made fun of them even more, I feel like. But yeah, like I said, I think this man is gonna be stuck between these two tiers. We can maybe decide which one he goes into uh, once we're nearing the end or once we're at the end. And now, of course, you already see the second person in our list here is none other than Darion Arias. We got Darion Harris here, and oh man, where do we put him? Where do we put Dayron Arias? Now, there's an immediate temptation, I feel like, and I think some of you also would share it. I see you guys talking about Dayron being in God tier, of course. I feel like there's some temptation to put him in Fascinating Specimen, right? And here's the thing. My opinion is that Dayron once, before I did this deep dive into who Dayron is, also felt he would be in Fascinating Specimen, and he was just this enigma, this absolute oddity, this person who did all of these things and acted like this online celebrity and had all of these things going for him. Made a Kickstarter project and put together a magazine, um, and like all of these things, and he's constantly smiling, and it's such this weird, bizarre thing. Um, but yeah, is he a fascinating specimen? After I've done a deep dive on him, after I've actually looked into everything behind this stuff, it's like some of that mystery, some of that gets pulled back a little bit. Like, you know, why was he acting like this magazine was this huge thing and all these radio shows and everything? Why was he acting like he was already making it big? Because all of that was an advertisement. Why did he put together this magazine that had fake advertisements in it? Because making advertisements is his career. He's literally selling his ability to make them. So I think some of that definitely gets pulled back, but at the same time, he's someone who has done so many different things. Like he's tried the whole radio show thing for a really long time, and he actually did put a lot of money into it and got some money back. The YouTube stuff, the stuff he's gone through on Twitter, the project, the magazines, the way that every time I thought I reached the end of the rabbit hole of how many different things he's actually done, there was another step ahead. I think he is definitely fairly intriguing at a minimum, and I am personally leaning towards very interesting. Let's see what you guys are saying. So, yeah, Jack Barnes says very interesting. Suraj fairly intriguing to very interesting. Would have been much more interesting if his Kickstarter would have had its roots in a serious personality disorder, but sure, deep analysis made him appear in much more normal light. Yeah, yeah. It's like you see him at the beginning and you have this feeling that, oh my god, he's just this narcissistic like sociopath. He's like insane. But then you're like, no, he's actually just a guy. And the reason he posts on the internet is because he has people he wants to connect with on the internet, and he's kind of stopped doing that. Um, and I feel like he also earns an extra point as someone who has blocked me on Twitter, despite the fact that I didn't even do anything. I just asked him a question if he was willing to leave any comments, but I mean that's his answer, I guess. So yeah, I feel pretty confident putting him in very interesting. Again, between fairly intriguing and very interesting, but very interesting feels more fitting for the man, the myth, the legend, you know. So fairly interesting for, yeah, very interesting for Dayron. Now, next up, we got the Gator. We got the Gator himself, right? Um, I don't. Gator might actually see this at some point. I don't know if I know he checks on my channel. We stay in touch for things. But I'm gonna be real. I hope he doesn't get offended by this. Gator is so massively just a guy, for the most part. The most interesting part about him is that he is someone who has had this very insightful career when it comes to explaining the people's reactions to his content after interacting with iDubbbz and following along iDubbbz's career and just trying out all these different things. And he is, I do think he's a charismatic and interesting dude on his own in his own right. So it doesn't feel quite right to put him in dead ends, especially considering that his career is still going. The majority of the people we're looking at here are either completely gone from the internet or they're only on the internet in like this nominal way. I think Gator definitely deserves a bit more credit than Dead Ends. Yes, K Condor, you're asking, is Gator still posting? He absolutely is. He is, like I said in the update video, he's very close. He's like less than 1,000 subs away from 10,000, which is his current goal. Yeah, and he's posting. He's mostly posting shorts as well as little bits and pieces there, discussing what iDubbbz is going through as a change and all of that. Yeah, I personally I'm going to put Gator in not that deep, but am seeing that we have a little bit of a delay. Dale? Why did I say Dale? Dale Earnhardt? I don't know. I don't know where Dale came from. Oh, Connor is saying my favorite comment on the iDubbbz video was comparing Gator Poon to the guys from Always Sunny. Gator was Mac. Uh, it's Gator Poon itself. Like since we're talking about Gator Poon, you know what? I'm actually going to talk about Poon. Since we're talking about Gator, I'm just gonna move Poon over here and judge him simultaneously. Gator Poon as a whole would not probably go into dead ends because it's just a bunch of office buddies that got bored and wanted to make some videos together, and like that's completely fine. Honestly, so if my personal judgment will be, I would put Gator in not that deep because you know he's sort of just a guy, but his commentary on the entire situation, and the transparency with it is very commendable. He's quite fine to interact with. He's still very much trying his hand at a bunch of different things, and I think he's on a path to greater success in the future. Poon, meanwhile, and once again, I'm going to say this. I hope Gator isn't offended by this, but if we're talking about Gator Poon back when it was a group put together, like as a single group, um, as much as I like Gator, Poon was the star. Like we can all agree on that. I feel like Poon was the one with the accepted stuff. Poon was the guy that Idubs picked out for the fake phone call. Poon is just a wonderful character. He's really he has this very natural I feel like charisma and humor to him, where he's just this awkward guy where it almost feels like he's playing up how awkward it is, but it also comes off very naturally, and it's very endearing. Now, at the same time, he's an absolute fucking dead end. Poon is just a guy. He's just some guy. The most interesting thing about Poon is his nickname, and his nickname apparently comes from Harpoon, because the Gator Gang and some other people were playing like they were cornholing, and he was very precise and very quick or something. And I think Gator said it was that guy that named him Poon from Harpoon. So that's the lore behind that. So I feel like this is pretty good. This is something I can live with. Gator in Not That Deep, Poon as a dead end. I would love to talk to Poon though. I would if Poon would be open for an interview. That would be sick. That guy was also funny. I think that guy was funny, but he would also be a dead end, or I would need a new tier below that's just called that guy. I mean, it says something when your nickname is just that guy, isn't it? Uh, that's not to be mean or anything. There was definitely a dynamic to the Gator Poon gang that worked in this. It worked in with like an asterisk, of course, where it only works in this sort of ironic sense. I feel like, but it still worked. It still worked. It was still pretty funny, to me at least. Uh, Gator's a cool guy, but he's a different kind of interesting that does not belong here. I want to have a beer with him, but is not a big meme. Poon is even more of a normie. Yeah. So it seems we can be in agreement here as well. And now as you can see, I've moved the cat people together as well, since we did that with Gator Poon. I have, what was it? Jason O'Mara and Tara O'Mara, I think, right? The crazy cat people, the people behind the Licky Brush. This is the least viewed Kickstarter crap video, and Kickstarter crap deep dive, sorry. And I don't take that personally. I don't think it's my best one or the most interesting story necessarily. The main thing I wanted to do with that was try out the Licky Brush, and even then I couldn't actually get the real one because by the time I started making this video, the company had gone bankrupt and all that. It's, it is what it is. But what about the people themselves? Um, it's hard to place them. It's hard to place them because, of course, they are freaking weirdos. They're kind of psychopaths. They're most the thing they're most well known for is creating this silicone brush that looks like a tongue that you slap into your mouth so you can lick your cats. Of course, they're freaking weirdos. But how do I rank them in this? Because is there more interesting stuff to find out about them beyond that? Well, kind of not really. They're kind of just crazy cat people, and that's as deep as it goes. The most interesting things you can do when I was looking into them a bit more is that you can go in the opposite direction from the whole cat business and look into who they were in, the normal everyday life, and even then it's not that interesting, and then they just went bankrupt, and I think they're just back to being normies. I have already forgotten what they worked at. I worked as. I think one of them is like a software engineer, and I don't even remember which one. They are not very interesting. Personally, I'm leaning towards a setup like this. I think Tara and Jason. See, I've owned cats literally all my life, and the licky brush is a great way to get a cat to attack your face. Agreed. Agreed. Luckily, Tinny is it's actually turned out to be one of those cats that doesn't care which way he's brushed, so I actually could have used the brush in the opposite direction. But oh, hold on. Hold the fuck on. I literally still have it right here. I have this piece of shit. I forget who left the comments on on the Licky Brush video asking about how it feels on human skin. The answer is it feels horrible. It feels like you're being, if you've ever bullied someone or been bullied by them taking a rubber or a razor and rubbing it against your skin, that is exactly how it feels. It is just a piece of rubber. So if you take it and go move it through your hair, it just hurts. It literally just fucking hurts. I don't know how this is a good idea for your cats. It's a piece of shit. And then the back ones are stupid as well. But back to ranking these people, I would personally go like this. I would put Tara up here, and I would put Jason right here because they're both quite boring, but at least during the Shark Tank appearance, Tara had way more psycho vibes. Like Jason was over there being like, "Listen, our product went viral. We have this many sales. We have plans for this and that. This is how we're gonna use the money." And Tara was over there going, "Ha ha ha," and licking the cat and like being like, "Lick the cat, lick the cat. Oh my god, he loves it." And it's like she's insane. She's an absolute crazy cat lady. I feel like this is the best most proper setup. I would also hear out arguments for something like this or something like this, but this is how I feel personally. Let me hear what you guys' thoughts are. Again, we are working with a bit of a delay though. Um, yes, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. Kazuichi Soda, indeed, very true. So true, in fact. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Next. Well, okay. This one is like. I don't think we're going to have too many arguments about where we're putting Lucic, right? I mean, Lucic is amazing. Such a good character. Such a good jumping off point for my YouTube career personally. The only regret I have is almost the fact that I didn't wait a little bit, didn't make him my third video or something, but so I'd have better audio and better editing on it. So there would be like, it is by far and away the most popular video I have on the channel, and if it was a bit higher quality, I think it would have been popped off even more. Um, I've considered like a remastered version of the Lucic video, but I feel like Lucic is definitely in the fascinating specimen tier. Pretty definitely. A little discussion. I mean, I'd be open to hearing some arguments against it, but the dude perfectly logged his entire descent into this madness. Clearly, he has mental problems, but there's also just a core personality behind those mental problems that is so toxic and so irritating and kind of just horrible that somehow it just coalesces into this thing where yeah, it's almost feels like wrong. It almost makes you feel bad to make fun of him and laugh at all the stupid bullshit in his life, like all of his digital art technology stuff and the grime step stuff. It's like he's going through entire character arcs with what he's focusing on, what he's trying to do. I think it started with grime step, then it's went into schizophrenic TV with trying to do this bullshit comedy stuff, and then into his current arc where he's this ranting homeless man with the digital art technology nonsense. It's like he is a fascinating specimen, right? But and I was just saying it almost feels bad, but he's such a shithead in just his own personality, what is behind all the mental issues. He's just such a cunt that you kind of don't feel that bad. Let's see what you guys are saying. Somehow he's still alive. Rest in peace, Bobby, though. Yeah, Bobby is a major reason why I don't feel so bad about making fun of Lucic. Because he's so toxic that one of two things is true. And then I've heard of some other options, like Bobby's still alive and Lucic is lying. I don't think Lucic would be lying. I think if Bobby just left him, he would be shit talking him all the time, but he clearly does not care that much about Bobby dying, really. I mean, it's still sticking with him, but in this way where he's trying to almost just make it like a selling point in his career, and I hate it. He's a bastard. But yeah, let's see. Top tier, any persona that is either a role model or how to love or how to live or not to live is fascinating specimen. I'm sorry for his mental problems though. It's an awful thing to suffer from. It is. That much is true. Math and mental illness. Hey, listen. He doesn't do any drugs. Never mind that he's literally been seen holding a joint in videos while talking about not doing drugs. Let's not forget that. I've been committed to this just soda bit for years. It feels good finally. Yes. Yes, I've noticed, Jeremy. I have noticed on every single video. I don't mind though. I really don't mind. But yes, Lucic, pretty definitely fascinating specimen. Not hearing any opposition, so I think we can leave him there. And I mean, right up next after Lucic, we also have Master Pisces himself, Sean Bishop. Sean goddamn Bishop. Oh man. Reminder, we're less than, I think I have 878 subscribers or something like that currently. So we're a little over 100 subs away from me doing a full reading of the Pisces Emissary Adventures books. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I think Pisces deserves a fascinating specimen spot as well. It might seem like a little bit condescending or rather upsetting or something, but here's the thing. Um, I think he's absolutely fascinating in two ways. The first way is that every time I thought I reached, it's very similar to Dayron. Every time I thought I reached the end of what there is to learn about him, there's another thing that I will figure out through some other discussion, like the fish lore he gives, where he sort of combines his own personality and his own beliefs with what is clearly the story he's building for his OC. He considers himself and his fish OC to be interchangeable things, and it's also like a dragon or something. But what is genuinely even more fascinating to me about Pisces is that when push comes to shove, he kind of knows his shit, but certainly better than the average person. Like I pointed out in the deep dive video, you had all these people making fun of him during the Cybermatrix stuff, leaving comments talking about how, oh, he wants to strap a jet engine to the fucking thing because they googled quantum turbine engine and they saw this one picture of a jet engine and then extrapolated, oh, that's what's happening. But of course, he actually understands all of that way better than the average person, I feel like. Although at the same time, those people were clearly just not really putting in more than a half second of thoughts, like quantum turbine engine. Do you what the fuck would a jet engine have to do with quantum physics? It's a fucking jet engine. Of course, there's something more going on if it's a quantum turbine engine. He's talking about extremely tiny marble-sized little things that have these intense, theoretically only considered processes going on, and it's like, damn, he has figured things out in a weird way where it's obviously not Obviously, if you gave him all that money, he wouldn't build this thing, but he'd have a better understanding of what he's supposed to be building, I think, than the average person would be from just getting a description of the things. I'm just explaining this very poorly, but to be fair, so did Pisces himself, explained very poorly in all of his paint drawings and everything. And then you also have his writing career with Pisces Emissary Adventures. And I had a second look with the Native American stories. He's actually the editor for the Native American stories, and the woman that is, I think it was a woman that was the other co-author, is the main author of the story. So Pisces was editing and putting together those stories for her, which is peculiar. I love Pisces. I wish him all the best. He's a guy with autism living in his own world. Other than that, I don't think he has any genuinely bad intention like some other people. Yeah, obviously there's the N-word, F-word incident, but I think it was just a case of someone who has been dealing with mental issues and this mutual abuse with his family and everything. Um, I already saw the next comment. I think he really got pushed to the edge, and I think he, another thing that makes him fascinating is from the angle of his interactions with Ian, where this is kind of the first instance of us as viewers seeing Ian realize he has probably taken something too far. Which is why he ended that response video by saying, "Oh, Pisces is actually just an actor. This is all just a bit. We're all friends. Don't go messaging and harassing him." That was very obviously damage control, because he realized that otherwise he would be essentially sending an angry mob to harass a someone with issues, like mental issues, and I think that's also kind of just an interesting thing. Do you think Rock will ever die? No, no, it won't. I'm gonna I'm putting it right here. All right, we only got 5 characters left, and since I did it with Gator Poon and I did it with the Licky Brush, I think right now I'm gonna be moving Raul and Sonia together here. There's a joke here. There's a joke here about them not being together for several years now. But we got Raul Velez and Sonia Matefi slash Sonia Yana. Starting with Raul. Raul is very much just kind of a guy, and I'm very happy to almost immediately put him into dead ends. Whoops. No. You relax. Putting him into dead ends because he kind of is in the most literal sense, where you can't find information about him anymore that I can at least verify. I even messaged this one photographer that comes up if you look up Raul Velez or if you look up Helixia, just to confirm that absolutely no, that was not the person, and he also responded with like, "Oh yeah, that's it's fine, but I am curious about why this is whole thing. Why is that? What was it? All right, he said, "Oh, that might be why I've been getting some traffic. Is some of it from people looking for this Helixia thing?" He also said, "No, that Raul Velez that you have in your video is definitely not me. I am a lot younger and more handsome. So, what a Chad." But yes, I think it's just fair to put him in dead ends. He's just a guy whose wife convinced him to do this project that he wasn't really interested in doing. He was just doing it for her own, for her sake, and he's just moved on to have a normal life. Completely fine putting him in dead ends. Where's the boss hot sauce dude? I have not looked at the boss hot sauce dude, but I'm gonna go ahead and expect that boss hot sauce dude. Oh no, I think I've heard some stuff about Boss Hot Sauce Dude. I just don't remember what it was. I have not looked at them. These are just the ones that I've looked at. There's obviously missing projects here. Helixia continues to be the most baffling project I've ever seen. There is an explanation, and that explanation is with Sonia. Sonia is someone who was born in the Czech Republic. She was apparently always, had this rough upbringing and was always looking for more money. She went to America, married Raul, wanted some more money and some more fame. She wanted to be a recognizable face. So she had him create this project, Helixia, with the intention of, this modeling picture app where she was the only model, the only object of desire, as I'm pretty sure they literally call her in the pitch video. Um, oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, uh, she really wanted all of this, and that's why this project happened. Her intention was to again get money and get fame and be more desired by a bunch of different people. Um, no comments on what that says about her relationship or her feelings towards Raul at the time. But yeah, I think she is definitely. I would personally put her in fairly intriguing. I don't know about very interesting. Of course, her past and her story is interesting, but it's questionable if there's enough there compared to Dayron, because our baseline for very interesting currently is Dayron Arius. And Dayron has done a lot more than Sonia, and he has put a lot more effort, a lot more elbow grease, and all of that into those projects. Like the radio show, the TV productions he has done, the magazine, all the websites. Sonia has sort of half-assed most of that when it comes to those things, like the social media profiles that lead to nothing, all the Instagram profiles, her Facebook page not really being anything, her website being just a bunch of photos in this portfolio, and then inconsistencies in the name of the company, like the original photo design thing. There's just not quite enough to put her on par with Dayron, personally. Like, I'm, again, willing to hear, uh, yeah, I'm gonna listen to your opinions as well. See, rules boring as fuck. Yeah. I would love to know more about Sonia's past, but it's probably better such things remain private. She's a fascinating question mark, thus very interesting. So you would put her in very interesting, okay? Yeah, about her past, yeah, most of it is like I've heard again from the person that messaged me that I've mentioned in the video this morning. Um, yeah, there is a lot to her past that I could bring up, but since I can't verify any of it, unless Sonia, who is a fan of the show, wink, would be willing to do an interview, yeah, I would not rather not bring that stuff up. In fact, I am kind of going between these two, and just to remind myself of a reason um, that I would maybe put her a tier higher is the fact that she has literally seen my content, and that's what brought this other person to contact me. But yeah, Object of Your Desire line came from the Supermodel Beer project, right? The object of your desire was in the Supermodel Beer, and what? There was some stupid phrase though that they used when referring to the uh, titty Egyptian photo in the gallery. There was something about that, but I don't remember the exact line. You're right. The object of your desire was, in fact, the vagina beer. Um, but she is more interesting than Daddy Dada, TBH. She's closer to Daron than to him. Uh, okay, that is also true. I am currently hovering between these two, but you make a good point. For now, this is just for now. I'm going to put her in fairly intriguing, but a tier higher than Daddy Dada. Oh, and for what it's worth, I should probably also arrange them in the tiers. I think this is okay. No, Poon. I'm sorry, Poon. You're the most normal man on the planet. You're in the back of the dead ends. But yes, I think this is currently the most reasonable setup. Remember, Daddy Dada is hovering between fairly intriguing and not that deep, and Sonia is hovering between fairly intriguing and very interesting, right? So that's sort of where we are at currently. Um, yeah, we can return to that in a moment. We can return to that in the very end. We can reorganize some things. And next up, I'm gonna put it over here. I just looked at the other three, the rest we have, and I would actually put her up here. Um, so we have Ryan Grepper, the coolest man on the planet. Ryan. How would I rate Ryan? Well, my immediate thought is definitely in the lower half, because, well, sure, the coolest cooler is probably the most infamous Kickstarter failure to ever exist. It was at the time the greatest, like the most successful, most backed, most highly funded project on Kickstarter, and then it was an absolute disaster start to finish. Um, but is the importance, the impact of the project directly related to how I would rate Ryan himself as a person, as a single individual? Is he as interesting as his own project? I'm gonna go ahead and say no, personally. I think he is a fairly normal guy outside of all that happens. Um, I would personally put him between not that deep and fairly intriguing, and maybe closer to not that deep. Because the most interesting thing about him is that. No? The most interesting thing about him is that, um, aside from the project, he was like this whole inventor person, but at the same time, his inventions sucked ass. One of his inventions is the flirty bird flyer, which is like this spring-loaded bird chicken thing that you flung at your cats, and then you have the coolest cooler, which it's a stretch to call the coolest cooler an invention. He's just crammed a bunch of different pieces of tech into a fucking cooler box. It's not exactly the peak of innovation, really. I would personally maybe put him in not that deep. I would put him in not that deep, maybe above Gator. This is my current thought. I would put him above Gator in not that deep. Um, because, yeah, as a person, he's just a guy who wanted to make a cooler and fucked up the project that got too much money and didn't know what to do with it. Tried to get out of it with every means possible. Tried to get out of it by selling more coolers. Trying to get out of it by grifting online as this like finance guru and invention guru. None of it worked out. And it's not exactly that exciting. The project itself is like this fascinating look and case study into how a Kickstarter project can fall apart, but I think he himself isn't. So, CRH, that's a tough one. I would say someone who was able to make some boomers right there. Copy, paste, invoke my rights right next in the project's comment section does deserve some recognition. That part is hilarious. I wonder if it started on the coolest cooler, because the invoke my rights thing has spread. It has spread to so many different projects. I didn't mention it during the laser mouse, the Cheerdots project. Cheerdots 2, right? Cheerdots 1, if like I mentioned, has a bunch of undelivered packages, a bunch of dissatisfied backers, and if you go into the comments, you can find the I invoke my rights people in those as well. It's kind of fucking amazing. It's kind of amazing. I wonder if it started on the coolest cooler. It would make sense if it did. It would really make sense if it did. But I think I think that alone does not quite push him higher. Yeah, not that deep is gonna be it. Next we have Sean Andre, Caffeine himself. Um, Connor said, coolest cooler stone reminds me of the Juicero, yet somehow even the Juicero is more useless. Fair, very fair. Right. So, caffeine. I'm going to go ahead and say that there might be some biases at play, because Sean is someone, I call him a friend of the show. He has done an interview. I've kept in touch with him a little bit. We might have some stuff in the future. No promises just yet. But I do think that he is definitely in the upper half at the very least same tier as Daddy Dada, and I think around Daddy Dada's tier would make sense. He has a storied past. He was already doing this self-made entrepreneur stuff, and we're doing these local shows and working in the local community. When he did the Kickstarter project and when the iDubbbz beef happened, he has had quite a lot of impact, I think, on the way people interact with iDubbbz online as well, with the whole go eat a burger, you look sick, all that stuff, and, you know, obviously vice versa with people coming to bring him the stuff back. It's between him and Gator for the first content cop video, in a sense. I think he goes into fairly interesting. Also, of course, the fact that he went to jail over the loan fraud stuff and all of that. Everything surrounding Degenerates, the music video, and, you know, his insights from being in prison and overall interactions and everything. I think fairly intriguing fits him, and probably fairly intriguing more so than Daddy Dada. Again, I'm looking in the comments for your guys' thoughts. But yeah, I would personally put Sean right here next to Daddy Dada, basically between Sonia and Daddy Dada. Caffey's fairly intriguing. At least he is a rapper that has been into prison, I guess. I would rank him a bit like you, but like you ranked Sonia, between 2 and 3. Yeah, pretty much. I think this is fine. I think Sonia is a bit more interesting because of all that. I think Sean fits right here. Again, we might discuss it a bit more once we're finished here, but I think this is fine. And finally, from the cast, we have someone who I actually kind of forgot to put in, which is why he's at the end of this list. Forgot in the first time, but that doesn't immediately mean he isn't an interesting person. We have Jeff Green, the inventor of the hummingbird, and I'm going to want to hear your guys' opinions on this man right here, because, well, here's the thing. Overall, he might not be the most exciting person on the planet. He certainly doesn't look like the most exciting person on the planet. You are not going to find so many amazing things about him anywhere. The hummingbird is a stupid idea, of course. We all know that. It's a tail sitter VTOL that has, for one, already been invented back in like the 50s or 60s, or even the 40s. I'm pretty sure actually the first VTOL tail sitters might have been the 40s. And just there's this terrible design. But he is, well, okay, the very baseline is not that deep. That has to be the lowest we can put him, because we are looking at Ryan Grepper, we're looking at an inventor. But if Ryan can call himself an inventor, Jeff can absolutely call himself an inventor, because he has actual patents. The hummingbird patent was not accepted, as I'm pretty sure, because it was not something that there's nothing really setting it apart from other tail sitters, I'm pretty sure. But the patent for the turbine he has under the water that he wanted to put in the oceans to power all of like the United States or something, that's actually in there. That's actually patented. That is the green turbine. He has a bunch of LLCs associated with that, which I don't know if he's directly in the board of directors or something, or anything, or if he's just off in a garage somewhere making his next big thing, like Iron Man in the fucking cave. I don't know, but he is more interesting, I feel like, than Ryan as a person. I think his inventions and his personal input into those inventions is more interesting than Ryan. But I would also put him behind Daddy Dada. My immediate place for him would be right over here, right? Couldn't pay much attention to the hummingbird story. To be fair, the way I present the hummingbird story was different from the other deep dives, because I wanted to really paint a picture of why the hummingbird itself wouldn't really work that well, and why it wasn't that much of an original thing, that this existed beforehand. Like I mentioned, the tail sitters from the 40s and 50s. So I understand that. Normal thing about him, some engineering professor. Interesting thing about him, coming up with the BS he should know is BS, not that deep. The green turbine is kind of awesome. Yeah. Before I go, I wanted to say that you make some great vids, man. Super in-depth and pretty informative, considering that all those people's stories seem pretty closed and shut otherwise. Thank you. Thank you a lot. I would personally still put, but yeah, I would personally put him above Ryan. I think he's also hovering between these two. But I would personally at least put him here in front of Ryan or here, because the green turbine I think is actually interesting. The silliest part is, if he put some kind of project about the green turbine on Kickstarter, it probably would have had a bit more success than the fucking hummingbird, because of at least the green turbine, as far as I understand, actually functions. There are people and engineers that actually are involved, and this thing was actually built. They only built this terrible little model on a stick for the hummingbird, but the green turbine was actually built and put into the water. So I don't know. I don't know why he went with the fucking hummingbird as something to put on Kickstarter, but yeah, this is currently how I would put these people. Looking over these, I feel like it's kind of fine like this. Again, with the delay, I'm gonna want to hear your guys' thoughts, but I think this is pretty reasonable. We have fascinating specimens with Lucic and Pisces. Very little arguments here. I think this is perfectly fine. These two belong in this tier, and I think they belong in this order as well. I think Lucic is more fascinating with what he does than, well, no, actually, I think they're okay. They're about equal. I would put them about equal. They're both fascinating in different aspects and for different reasons. Dayron in that the head of very interesting head of Sonya also makes sense to me. I think because we put caffeine over here, we put Sean here. I think Sonya being in very interesting also makes sense. Yeah, good choice. The green turbine separates him. I wonder whether he made good money off the turbine. Hard to say. I know that he was, oh wow, I literally forgot which state, he was, operating in, but he got, like, the grant from the state, to look into this, and that's why he was even allowed to put it in the water. I don't know how much money he's made though, but they have an operating LLC at the very least. Maybe we haven't heard the last of them. Maybe we'll hear more about these turbines, and maybe literally they'll actually be powering like a significant portion of a state, or like the entirety of the United States or something like that in the future. You know, utilizing undersea currents for power, pretty cool. But yeah, um, maybe even putting him ahead of Daddy. No, I think Daddy Dada can still stay right here in the middle. Yeah, Sean is the top of fairly interesting, makes sense. Daddy Dada, and then Jeff Green, because I think there's more interests. What makes Daddy Dada more interesting is obviously presentation. Uh, they're both fairly old, serious men with storied histories. They have their fields of expertise. But only one of them decided to put on a backwards cap and start rapping in this massive white room while a woman goes behind, in the back vocals, and goes, "Don't hurt me." So you know what? Yeah, Daddy Dada is definitely beating beating Jeff on that one. Um, Over here, Ryan, yeah, it's close between Ryan and Gator. I put Ryan right here ahead of Gator. Purely because of the impact that the Coolest Cooler had on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter literally had to update its terms of service, and the way that they handled situations like this because of Coolest Cooler. Then Gator right up afterwards. Terra over here representing the Licky Brush gang. We have Raul, who is ahead of these two because the Helixia project was that strange, and he was technically the person behind it. He was the person going around doing the advertising for it. And then Jason and Poon rounding off the list. I think that looks perfectly fine. So this is going to be our list for now. I suppose I can consider this. Well, no, I suppose I already did season 2 starting this year, so I guess next year is going to be season 3 of the deep dives. I do have some other deep dive projects I want to look at, and when we do that, I can update this list, add more of them, do another stream like this. I am thinking of doing a couple of streams in the future as well, just mostly communicating with you guys. All sticking to YouTube. I don't want to spread across multiple platforms. But yeah, that's basically gonna be it. I think we've done a pretty solid job here. I might edit this video down as well from the stream in the future, put it all together, and then put that video out as well. It might take me like a couple of weeks though, because next week I need to focus on the illusion documentary, and then I need to also get back to doing the god dang weekly videos for the Kickstarter project. So I suppose this is kind of it. Unless I can think of anything else to talk about, this is kind of going to be the end of the stream. This was about an hour long. That's pretty decent. Pretty much exactly an hour long. Wow, that's quite good. I think it worked quite well for a test stream. Of course, I'm only going to see and hear what my audio was like during this entire thing once I'm done. But yeah, thank you guys for all tuning in. And hope you had a good time. And yeah, I'll see you around when I get to making more videos. One last thing where I can think Discord. Discord link can be found in the description for pretty much every video I have done, well, at least the recent ones. You can find it in the description of the latest video, I'm pretty sure. I might have to double check. I'm going to double check just to make sure that I'm not saying some nonsense here. But I'm pretty sure that yeah, it's in the description, or should be. If it's not in the last video's description, it should be in the previous one's description. That's an open invite to all of you guys. If you want to pay a little bit more, if you want to like interact a bit more with the community, and see some projects that I actually haven't done like videos on. We have a Kickstarter book club channel over there that I've mentioned before, where Lobster Mashing on Keyboard pretty much posts things daily. Pretty much daily he mentions some new wacky project, and yes, there is a Discord link in the latest video, so that's good.